right? Without judgment, without critique. If any of you, and I love to see your faces if possible, feel like some days this is just a little bit too much, go ahead and raise your hand for me or put a little icon. Some days it's too much. Cooking the dinner, I see the two hands. Angela, I see two hands, right? And I do that so that we could see each other. It's okay. We want to normalize that we are living in unusual times and some of us need a little more support. We need someone to chat with. And so here are some resources. We will drop this into the chat link as well. And I just want to point that at each of your school, there is the cost team. And the cost team is where you can go to. Those are the counselors, the academic support, the principals, a teacher. And all you have to say is, I need someone to talk to. They are there for you. They are waiting for you and they are asking for you to come get support. And here's the best thing. Anybody want to hear the best thing about this?
What's the best thing?
It's free. Any parents need free right now? I don't know about you, but I need free everything. Okay. Hello. Thank you. I see you, Myra. I see you. All right, Franklin.
Hey, Gigi, I just want to check in real quick. I see in the chat, Griselda Padilla is saying, Jonah no se oye en español solo English. So I'm assuming that means I cannot hear in Spanish, only English. Can we just check in? James, I don't know if that's something you can help us with, just to check in and make sure that the Spanish interpretation is happening.
Working on it.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. All right, I'll just plug ahead.
Maybe we should have Joanna translate right behind us then. Joanna, would you mind doing that?
Joanna says they can hear now. It's resolved.
Gracias.
Thank you. All right. The second resource we want to call out tonight is Care Solis. Care Solis has live 24/7 concierge line to assist individuals in finding local mental health related programs and services. Care Solis does not require a user's name, address, phone number, or date of birth. This free confidential service allows students, families, and staff to access local mental health programs and counseling services that have been vetted by Care Solis to ensure accreditation, safety, and accessibility.
Great, thank you. And I want to acknowledge all of our young people that are with us too. I saw the drawing on the screen. Hi, we don't want to act like our kids aren't out there. So good to see you all. If you draw on the screen, just put flowers and happy faces. We're totally okay with that, okay? We cannot act like our kids are not around. Can anyone raise their hand if that's you right
Absolutely.
now? Your kids, right, exactly. All right, the third resource we want to share, and we're almost done, is the family resource centers that are at some of your schools, Barbara Lee Resource Centers and other ones. They work to connect families. This is important, to health insurance, healthcare insurance, and other social services around health and education. They work with the school district and the city, and they are laced throughout the campuses in San Leandro. And so we really would love for you to access them as well. And then our last one, Frank.
The Native American Health Center, or Health Clinic, is a school-based health center at the BLC, which I'm assuming is the Barbara Lee Center. It's led by the Native American Health Center. Their services focus on prevention and integrated care with a mission to improve adolescent health and well-being.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Franklin. And so if you need any more of that information, hit us in the chat box and we will get you everything you need.
Por favor, mándelo aquí en el chat.
Great, thank you. Thank you. All right, we are going to take a moment. Let's just advance to the games, Frank. In this part, we would love for you all to be completely present with us and try on the process. We're gonna do some interactive games where we kind of check in with each other and also talk with each other. And so we ask that you participate. We would love to see your faces, but we understand if we don't.
Great. Hi. All right, everybody. So let's play a game together. Did I mention that tonight we are having a raffle at the end for people who attend tonight's training? We're going to give away 4 gift cards tonight, and then we're also having a big gift card raffle at the right before the winter break for people who attend 3 landing pads or more. 3 landing pads or more. And tonight we're raffling off $25 gift cards. Let's play a little bit of show and tell. Show and tell.
Frank, how do people win the gift cards? I'm sorry.
We're going to do random selection tonight based on who's showing up, especially in the chat. So if nothing else, say yes, hi, good evening. We agree.
Smile.
We disagree. Anything you put in the chat increases your likelihood of winning. You can also just put your name. By now, you've already put your school and grade. For people who are late, you can put the name of the school that your child is in and the grade, and that'll get you.
I see people putting smiley faces for you, and
That'll
we'll
work.
do it at the end of the session. Go ahead, Mr.
That'll
Wilson.
enter you into the raffle. All right, very good. So we're gonna play show and tell. So for everybody who can come on camera, feel free to come on camera. And what we're asking you to do is I'm gonna give you a prompt, and you're gonna look in your immediate environment. So for some people, that's the office. Some people, that's the house. Some people, that's the backyard. Some people, that's the car. Pick up something nearby, show it to the camera. If you're not on camera, it's totally okay. Just put in the chat what you picked. All right, so you can type it into the chat. And so the first thing, let's go easy first. Please show me something in your immediate environment that is green. Something that is green.
What do you see out there, Frank?
Let me see what I see. I think
Are those
Jasmine,
headphones? Oh, go ahead.
Jasmine has a green piece of paper, and I see Uri Kane has a piece of jade. Is that jade? Tell us.
Close enough. It's a hair clip. My daughter's hair clip.
She's like, it's not close at all.
Frank, I see.
There you go.
I see succulents, and Jackie, I see you in the back seat has a green eyeglass case.
Oh, cool. Thank you guys so very much. All right.
Nice.
So thank you for doing that. Now let's do something just a little bit more. Would you please show me something that brings you joy? Something that brings you joy. I see you, Jonathan Stewart and family. Looking cute. Something that brings you, oh, Adele. Nice.
Coffee, Starbucks, yes. Oh, Jonathan, oh, I see that little toy. Happy. Oh, I love you. I have a balloon that says happy.
Yeah, that brings you joy.
Family.
Laura Ramirez, will you share what you have? Tell us.
It's a dream catcher that my daughter made for me. That's sitting in my desk.
Nice.
Very special. Thank you so much.
Karen had a great picture of something she was doing outdoor. Karen, can you share that with us?
During this shelter in place, my daughter and I have picked up stand-up paddleboarding. She does it way better than me, obviously, so that's her on the board.
Oh,
That
love
is
it.
sweet.
Outdoor activities, yay.
Paola, I saw you. Paola Rodriguez Ramirez. Will you tell us who that is or what that is? Unmute. Will you tell us? I know.
My family, my daddy and my son.
Yes, that's beautiful.
Beautiful.
All right, and there's so many others. I see Richard. And I see others as well. That the stewards disappeared off my screen, but I know they're there. Next one is Show me something that is meaningful to your children. Show me something that has meaning to your children. Something that has meaning to the kids.
Richard has his smile. Or is that your
There
beard?
you go. Me. He said me.
You. Okay, you, Richard. Shu. I see. Is that a transformer? Shu Jingxing?
That's a little...
Oh, Angela Hung, we see your iPad and sharks.
And then Jonathan Stewart family, tell me what you have.
Just running for it.
It's a what?
A transformer. What's an Autobot? And his name is Sideswipe.
Oh, Sideswipe.
Oh, that's
Nice.
awesome. All right, last round. I want to stay with this like all night. Let this just be the whole hour, but you guys will then trash my evals. Okay, tell me, show me an item that has a story attached to it. Show me an item that has a story attached to it. Show me an item that has a story.
Okay, this one takes a little more work. Okay, you guys got one? You ready? All right.
An item that has a story attached to it.
All right, you guys scroll through your screens, push the arrow to go left and right, and that way you could see people's picture. Nice. Pisita Stru, I don't know if I'm saying your name right. Please correct me if I'm wrong.
Stroud, tell us
Stroud, thank
tell
you.
us how to say your name, and will you share with us what you have?
Sorry, I was trying to come off of mute. That was a really good attempt, though. Hi, everybody.
Thank you.
Hi, it's Saida.
Saida, thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you guys. This is a photo I took. This was my first trip out of the country when I went to Brazil. And this is right in Sao Paulo near the favelas. So this was important to me because it was the first time I ever left the United States.
Wow.
And it was
Beautiful.
recent. It was like 8 years ago. So it was kind of recent.
Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you all for sharing. Thank you all for sharing. And we see all the many things, and there are surely many stories. And Gingy, why don't you help us make meaning of this activity?
Yeah. One of the things that we know in this season of uncertainty is that there's so much around us we cannot control. If anyone feels that way, put your hands up, put up a heart, put a thumbs up. But what we know in regards to self-management of ourselves and even our young people is sometimes we have to grab onto those things in front of us that are certain, things that can ground us, things that bring us joy, things as parents and guardians that remind us, I'm super overwhelmed, and even kids, I see all my babies on here, even kids, I'm overwhelmed and I'm frustrated, but I'm just gonna hold this for a moment until it passes. And so I wanna ask you all, and I'd love to hear other voices besides Franklin and I, when was the last time you experienced joy? Can someone tell us in maybe 30 seconds an example of when they experienced joy, either with themselves or with their children during this season? Maybe an unexpected moment of joy. Anyone out there? Hello? Would like to share? I hear someone coming off mute. Okay, let's take a moment to.
Jackie raised her hand.
Jackie, hi Jackie.
Hi, so my moment would be, it's been really hard experiencing this online learning. And, my daughter has a lot of anxiety, a lot of issues going on with herself. And, now she actually came up to me one day and she was like, you know what, Mom, I feel really certain of myself. I feel like I'm doing so good. And that was just like a really happy moment for me.
Thank you.
Jackie, thank you for sharing. And I could hear the emotion. Have any of you felt that type of emotion or feeling where you feel like, I don't know if this is working or if I'm working for my kid, and then you have a Jackie moment? Yeah. Yeah. Can someone else share a moment? And the reason why we share is because one of the things we know in isolation is that sometimes people feel like they are alone in what they're feeling and experiencing. And sometimes that causes a lot of stress and anxiety. But when we share on a platform like this, it kind of helps me say, oh, if Jackie had that moment and made it, then I can make it through this moment too. Any other shares in the room on a moment where you experienced joy with yourself or your child or what you've done? Johanna? Okay. All right. Well, what we want you to do, as Franklin shares this next part, if it comes up for you, I see, is that Aida who's unmuted? Would you like to share? Maybe you don't know you're unmuted. Okay. All right. As we move on, if you think of that moment, go ahead and throw it in the chat box and we will close with this again. Okay. All right. Go ahead, Frank. I'll hand it on over to you.
All right. Great. So tonight we're going to talk about self-management. And if you remember or recall, or if you were with us last time, we've been on this journey around social emotional learning. And we've been on a journey where we've been talking about the concept of social emotional learning as it pertains to our students. The Family Landing Pad gives us the opportunity to understand that as we support the social and emotional needs of our kids, we have to be able to take care of ourselves as well and hold our own emotions and our own needs for connection and have a space for that. And so we're going to continue to do that tonight. By last time we looked at self-awareness. Can I just recognize my emotions, my thoughts, and my behaviors? Tonight, we're going to look at, can I manage my emotions, my thoughts, my behaviors effectively in different situations? To what extent, once I identify my emotions, do I have an ability to shift them if that's appropriate, to lean into those emotions, or else it's like turning up the volume of those emotions, or I can even turn the volume down. So those are just some examples of being able to have self-management.
Frank, can I give an example of maybe when I didn't have it so that as you talk about it? Okay. So one way that I didn't have, I wasn't managing myself well, or I was stressed, is I came home from work a little late and I was super tired. And one of my children, I won't name him just in case you know him, was on video games. And they had not completed their homework. And I felt like it's almost the end of the quarter. If you don't finish your homework, the teacher is going to think I'm a bad parent. I'm not paying attention to you. I'm losing control. And these people know me. And so I had a moment where I got really snippy with him. And then I had to stop and say, he's tired too. But it took me a minute and I did kind of lose my cool for a second. So you can use that, Frank, if you want.
Thank you. So if that experience sounds like something you felt sometime this fall, just give a thumbs up or put it in the chat. I feel you, right? You come home, Roblox, what are the games? Fortnite. There's a whole bunch of
yo también me siento así.
all these these programs, and you're like, but did you do your homework? And the kids are trying to Richard said Minecraft, right? So those just being able to have that. But what's interesting about this story of I'm hoping that my student is getting their work done, it's the end of the quarter, is that there's this other piece. And that's the story that then we tell ourselves. And that's the thing, the skill we want to call out tonight, is sometimes we tell ourselves stories. And by that, I mean, there are stories we tell ourselves that we repeatedly tell ourselves that get in the way of our sense of purpose and our sense of peace. So when Gigi told that story, she then said, the teachers will think I'm a bad parent. How many people have thought that to themselves? Do I come off as a bad parent? I remember when I had kids in kinder, when I had kids in first grade, and it was especially my first kid going into school, I was very aware of, do I look like a bad parent? Do I look like a good parent? All these parents are showing up for every parent meeting, and all these parents are showing up with all the things that come with being an active parent. And I was doing that too, but I was hyper aware of wanting to look like a good parent. So then I might tell a story that if anything goes wrong, perfectionism, then the story becomes, I will be thought of as a bad parent. It has gotten the way of
just so you know, in the chat box, people are saying me all the time.
Right. And then you have, so that is a story that we can begin to tell ourselves. It starts in kindergarten, first grade, and now I have a sixth grader, right? You know, and I'm still hyper aware of, will people know that I'm a good parent? Will people know it? And so we have to watch for those stories, because over time, here's the deal. Over time, they become like a movie that you watch over and over again. So it becomes like a warm blanket, because you know what's coming with that movie. You know the plot. You know the good parts. You know the tough parts. You watch that movie again and again. But we have to figure out a way to put a new movie on and to stop that movie as well. Because they could be disruptive. Those stories could be disruptive to our peace and our inner well-being. Gingy.
Frank, I think this is a good pause before we move on to open up and say, is there anyone that wants to comment or say anything about what Franklin is saying, or how it relates to them, or just any comment or a question?
Great.
Okay.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah, we'd love to hear you guys' voice. This is a space for you.
What do you know about stories that we tell ourselves?
Okay. Okay. So we'll move on and we'll tell the stories, but I also want to acknowledge, Frank, and I'm gonna call this out, because if this is how you're feeling right now, go ahead and put up a thumbs or something. But how many of us are super exhausted right now and even just tired? Put your thumbs up. Okay, I want to acknowledge that, because I feel like that's also what I'm seeing and feeling, and it's okay. So Frank and I are going to we're going to cuddle you and move you through this. And at any moment, if you want to talk and chat, just come on in. Somebody said I'm overtime, right? Yeah, thank you. All right, Mr. Huston.
Yeah, you know, yes. And the thing about it is, there's also this element of, the last thing I'll say about this idea about being a good parent is sometimes, and especially when it comes to other parents and feeling the judgment or being aware of how do I come off to teachers, staff at the school, is that we are in the pandemic. Life is not the same. Things are not the same. Social change is happening now. There are things that are changing about our society and how we interact, how we be in community with each other. And it's all happened very rapidly with uncertainty. And so sometimes we try to hold the same expectation of ourselves that we held pre-pandemic, before the pandemic. And so I just want to name that instead, let's look at the evidence of how we show up literally to this phone call as a piece of evidence that I am a good parent. Yes. Literally, I'm on the call right now as a piece of evidence, right? My kid ate today as a piece of evidence. Saying,
That's a big deal. I got fired as the lunch lady. That's a whole nother topic, but that's a big deal. You fed your kids.
When I was I remember, when I was a kindergartner and I freaked out because one day I came to work, they were like, "What's wrong with you?" And I was like, "I was late to school. And so I took my kids to the donut shop for breakfast and I'm a bad parent." They were like, "Get out of here." Do you know how many of us gave our kids donuts this morning? I was like, "Oh, okay. Let me relax." All right. So then how do we get out of this? Let's get back to our thing.
Great,
And how do we get out of it is we have to practice reframing. We have to practice a skill called reframing. When we reframe, we do exactly what I said about the movie. You take this movie off and you put a new movie on, even if you don't know how it will turn out. It's just exciting. It's a new movie. So when we reframe, if you look at our slides, there are many options we could take to learn and teach ourselves how to reframe, but 3 of them are this. Let's look for let's teach ourselves a new story that moves us towards solutions. Let's teach ourselves a new story that moves us from pessimism or thinking everything is falling apart to optimism. There's probably 5 ways I could deal with this. Or another optimistic statement might be, I remember another time when I made it through, right? And then another way we reframe is to lift up opportunity and learning, right? So in Gingy's case, I wonder if people can put in the chat window, when Gingy walked in the door and she thought to herself, "Oh, the kids are on video games and they need to be doing homework." What are some reframes? What are some new stories besides "I'm a bad parent" or "I might be a bad parent"? What are some new stories she could tell herself? Would you take a second and let's encourage Gingy right now? Put it in the chat window. What would you say to her?
For yourself, yeah.
Yep. What would you say?
Myra says we have such high expectations of ourselves as parents.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I would say one thing, be kind to yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd even say, let yourself make a mistake. It's okay. Someone said, take a deep breath.
Thank you, Jonathan. I know there's some more encouragement. Thank you.
Angela, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah. He's on video games and it's not the end of the world. He's on video games. Let me take a deep breath. Yeah. He's on video game and it's so nice that right now my kids are home safe.
That's perspective.
I am not perfect. Life goes on. Can we all say that together, even if you're off camera? I am not perfect.
I'm not perfect. Life goes on.
Let me make this a moment to be grateful. And let me take a deep breath for real. So let's look a little bit deeper into how we do reframes. Let me choose my battles. That's one I think about all the time.
That's good. That's good. So what Franklin and I want to offer you all, and you can even take a picture of this if it helps, is if we ran a couple scenarios, and if you think about this too, like we do, go ahead and give us a heart or thumbs up. But let's act as if the parent or caregiver who thinks that their student should hold the same level of achievement in virtual learning as they do in school. We have the same expectations for our kids, but life isn't the same. And so the negative thing that I may say is, my kids are not trying hard enough. Like, come on, you're not trying hard enough. Maybe I'm the only one who said that, but I'll bust myself out for all of us, okay? So what is something differently when I think about my children and say that they're just not being good enough. They're not achieving high enough. They got an A+ when they were at school and they could barely get a C virtually. Instead of saying to my kids, you're not trying hard enough, how do I reframe that into something positive? Not a lie, but something constructive. So I'm going to pause and let you guys put it in a chat box, or I'd love to hear someone's voice. How do we take the negative part of my kid is just not trying hard enough to thinking about they're living through a pandemic. They're living through some of the most intense times around race and culture, and they miss their friends and teachers. How do we reframe that? How do we make that positive? I see someone says, I do it all the time and I feel bad. And that is why we're here tonight, because social isolation will make us just feel completely bad about this, as opposed to figuring out how we get through this together. And so can someone offer our group, our parents, our family, something positive? Okay. So a positive way to reframe this, and thank God my kids aren't here right now because it may be hard, so it's easier for me. We're not in the moment, so let me acknowledge that, is, son, I know this is a challenge for you as well. Let's figure out how we both do better. It could be to my niece, I know virtual learning is it's hard to learn chemistry through a virtual platform. Today, I just want you to do your best. Someone said we could reframe by saying, there's no such thing as perfect. We could tell our kids. Sometimes when we tell them, we're telling ourselves, there's no such thing as perfect. Someone said you could say, life is different and things will be different. And tell them that mommy's having a hard time too. I'm gonna say this to you, I'm not gonna cry, but it's my 6th grader came to me and he said, Mommy, I just don't want it to be this way anymore. And I told him, son, as opposed to get over it, move on. I said, son, I don't either. Mommy's actually sad too. I'm the big human and you're the little human. I'll be your best friend right now. Let's do it together. Then I told him, it won't be like this always, but today it is, and let's do this together. Raise your hand if you feel like that's where you're at, or maybe even what you need to go say to your own children as well. Yeah, let's say that. Sometimes they need to see that mommy and daddy are human, not that we're just paying the bills and being the disciplinarian, but baby, we're not okay. Let's cuddle on the couch and watch. I've been watching all kind of kid movies, but let's get some popcorn tonight and we'll just watch this, okay? Someone said it's not easy, but we will help. We will get through this together. Yes, yes. All right, Frank, let's advance the slide. Now, here's another scenario. If this resonates with you, give me a thumbs up. The parent or caregiver who shames themselves for not being kind. So we kind of did this. Let's move to the next slide, Mr. Heiston. Okay, this is the one. Oh, that's not it. Okay, so there was a slide. Go back, please. What do you say when you get frustrated with a teacher because the teacher doesn't understand? So the negative would be like, this teacher just does not care about my kid. I had a teacher email me and I asked a question about my kid, and when they emailed me back, the caption said,
大聲咁鬧話個老師唔好，唔係一個好老師。
But my child to me has a name.
Mm-hmm.
So in some ways, I could have been like, I can't believe this teacher did that. But the reframe in that moment to make it a little more positive or constructive.
嘅時候咧，就家長大聲係鬧啦。 呢個老師裏面好冇禮貌，或者係做啲嘢唔妥當啦，與其
Yo no sé qué es lo que está pasando atrás de la vida de este maestro tampoco. Yo voy a tener compasión porque yo también la necesito.
They didn't learn how to teach like this in teacher college. I see one of my friends here says, sometimes it's stressful not being able to help my kid. Can we talk about that? All right, Frank, let's go ahead and take that slide. Take all the slides down, please. Sometimes it is stressful not being able to help our kids. If you are feeling that way or have felt that way at any moment in these almost 8 months, let's put up thumbs, let's put up hearts, let's let everyone know that that's you right now or has been. One of the things as parents or guardians is some of us, and if you're here tonight, I think it may be you, take very serious being able to support our kids. But what do you do when now your kid is coming home with an assignment that you don't understand? Can I talk? Common Core math and me, we just are not friends. And we're not going to make up. And we're never going to be nice to each other. And some of that I can't help my kids through. When we talk about self-management as parents, we have to let go of some of those things that are out of our control in this season. And we have to say, I'm still good enough. So I want you to say to yourself right now, you can take yourself off mute. I'm still good enough. I'll see your lips moving. I can see you.
I'm still good enough.
Oh, thank you. I'm still good enough.
I'm still good enough.
I'm here. So let me say that's a big thing as a parent to be there. Sometimes don't you just want to run out the house? I'm just going to tell on myself. Maybe I'm telling on you. You just want to lock yourself in the bathroom, something, get under the cover and not move like you're not there. Stay in your car for hours. So say to yourself, right, I'm here.
I'm here.
Yeah. And then the last thing, I'm here.
Or as I tell my kids sometimes, I am going to drive until the car runs out of gas.
Love that. Right. And sometimes being here may be taking a moment to take a deep breath or go on a drive. So when you come back, you're actually present. Right. Would anyone like to say anything? I see some great comments. Yeah. One of my friends says, I hear you. My son is having a horrible time and I feel helpless at times. He doesn't understand why he can't play with his friends and in return refuses school. I just want to take a moment and not try to fix that. That's real. How many of you guys sometimes are having a hard time getting your kid to even buy into school because they can't see their friends? This is why these moments are important, because we have to continue to encourage our kids, and that first starts by encouraging ourselves. For that parent, I want to offer that also there may be a way to talk to your teacher. I did this with my youngest son to say, are there a couple kids in the class that you know that may need other kids to talk to? I'd love to set up a virtual pod with them. So if your kid is feeling that down in some ways, please reach out to the teacher because they know other kids who need other kids right now. Oh, we have a resource here. Angela says there's an app called PhotoMath. PhotoMath, PhotoMath, to help us do Common Core math. I'm going to look at that tonight. Thank you. Thank you, Angela. PhotoMath. Someone next time come tell us how it went. I want to open up space for Franklin and anyone to share. And then we want to give you 3 quick tips about reframing.
Thank you. So I've seen some of the Spanish, and so I'm trying to do a little bit of soft interpretation because it's not my first language. But I think that if you have a question around some of the needs for the school, one of the folks said, my son's not been able to enter his math class, and the teacher told him, he sent him a link, and it's been 3 days and he cannot enter. Then Mr. James Parrish III, who you see waving at you right now, is a person to get in touch with. So maybe, James, you can drop your email address into the chat box, and for who was Johanna, when you said que puedo hacer, James Parrish III, give him an email. All right.
And then Frank, now that you mentioned that, and if anyone can interpret the translation, we'd love it. But I see a comment by Victor with a little crying face at the bottom. And so I want to acknowledge that even though I don't understand all the words, I know that emoji and that feeling. And I hear someone. There you go. And I want to say, Victor, that we hear you and we see you, and that you're not alone.
Mm-hmm.
You're not, that is the point of this whole landing pad. We are not alone. You are not crazy. You are not tripping. You are not broken or bad. But a pandemic has put us in a place where we are experiencing things and trying things as parents that no one wrote a book about. We're actually writing it together right now.
She said, Victor's comment was, my daughter told me roughly, I can't believe it. I miss school, and she started to cry.
Yeah. Yep. This is one of the things that I want us to see as a San Leandro community. One of the things that is very beautiful about our community is the diversity. And even in the diversity right now, more than ever, we are actually more alike than we are unalike. And so even if things are in different languages, they look different in our cultures, they even look different in our homes, at the core of what we all are feeling is the same. And so even when we see each other out, like I've been trying to see if I see anyone when I go to Pete's or Starbucks or grocery store, even trying not to act crazy just in case you see me and I don't see you. But even when we're out, let's just nod to each other. Let's just smile with our eyes at each other. Let's just know that we don't even have to know each other's names or each other's children to know that we're actually in the same boat together right now. Anybody else out there, can you send your kid to school tomorrow? Anyone? Please tell me. What school are you? Right. Okay. So we're all homeschooling tomorrow. I will think about you tomorrow morning when I try to wake up 3 kids for homeschool. Yes, Victor. Yes. All right. So we're going to end with a quote, and then right after that, it is time for the raffle. Frank, can you please throw up the quote? Time for the raffle. We want to show you all we appreciate your time, and we know that a $25 gift card for you. If you want to share it, it's okay. But I know your kids are there, but I see, oh, one of the little kids just jumped on like, mommy's going to share with me. All right, so the quote we want to close with, and then we're going to do the raffle right after, says this. Advance for it.
Thank you.
Thank you. To be a good parent, you need to take care of yourself so that you can have the physical and emotional energy to take care of your family. Even if that's 5 minutes a day, even if that's in the restroom where you can lock the door and no one comes in, even if that's you play sleep for 10 more minutes and they don't know you're actually awake, while you take a minute to tell yourself, I'm good enough, I'm here. All right, let's raffle, Mr. Heiston. Woo!
All right, thank you
If
guys
you're
so much for
excited
this.
about the raffle, yeah, go ahead.
All right, so it's time for our raffle. If you, we did a random pick of folks who are in the participant list. And so that yielded 4 people who will get a $25 gift card. We're going to email it to you. So if you are the winner, please drop your email address in the chat. If not to everybody, at least to Gingy or to Franklin, myself, okay? So don't leave without making sure we have your email address and that we tell you we have it, okay?
Yep. You can even wait until everyone checks off to make sure we'll still be on the line.
Yeah, that would be great. All right, so let's give it up for our first person,
Woo!
which is the person who is Myra's iPhone. Myra's iPhone.
Myra's iPhone, are you out there?
Yes, I am. Very happy.
All right, Miss Myra, check your email.
Address.
Thank you
And then
so much.
There's somebody whose name is just Jasmine. Jasmine.
Hi, Hay mày ngủ à?
Yay!
Yay.
Okay.
Thanks, Richard. I appreciate the love too.
And Jasmine, just email us, text us in the chat box your info, email address, and number.
And it looks like Lacey's got us taken care of. Thank you.
Thank you, Lacey.
And then the next person is Adwin M. Adwin M. Woo!
Are you out there?
Edwin M, if you're there, let me know. Okay, I don't know.
Let me look through and see.
Hey.
Oh, there you are.
You're there, yay. So send us your email address. Okay. And then the final one, we got Myra, Jasmine, Adwin, and Ellen.Luyen. Ellen.Luyen. Are you still there?
You still there?
Still in the list? Let me see.
All right.
I think Ellen is on the phone. I don't even think that Ellen's on video.
Okay.
Ellen, can you unmute yourself and just tell us you're there? If you
Hi,
can
yes,
hear.
yes, I'm here. I just don't have a video on my computer, but
No
I
problem.
did. But I sent it in the chat.
Perfect.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Yay.
Everybody, thank you so much for being a part of our time tonight. We will see you next month. And let's see if I have that date. November 4th. We'll do social awareness. November 4th.
Yes. And I just want to say, Ellen, if you could put your name, your email in the chat again. You all, thank you so much. Come back. Bye, all you kids. Have a good night. Give your parents a hug. They need a hug. Give them a hug.
I have Jasmine. I don't have Myra's iPhone.
Bye.
Myra, did